if you have some sort of sexual abuse that's rooted in your history and you've never worked through it at all with a therapist, I would recommend you do that before you do this. If you have done that or you don't have any sexual abuse in that way, although I think many of us with wombs carry sexual trauma that comes from our lineage. Definitely total side note, different podcast, but episode. But if you have that, right, these practices are really healing, for us, because it's between you and you. It's between you and your body and you and the divine. You're letting yourself be held by unconditional love, regardless of what you're experiencing. It's all being held in the sacred container. So if you do want to take it a step further, I would recommend, like I said, doing the mirror practice. You could cup your vulva and breathe, right? Just like the same way you might just breathe consciously in a meditation. You could cup your vulva and do the same thing and just see if you're.
So wait, cupping meaning just like placing your hand gently over.
Yep. Placing
placing
one hand over your vulva and then the other, and just breathing, just holding, just breathing, like really simple. But think about how many people haven't done that. Like so many, you know what I mean? And it's just creating some safety in your system, right? It's just saying like, here we are. And like, this is good. This is great. Like I'm just here breathing with this part of my body that has the power to create and give birth to new life, not just human beings, although that's obviously a big deal, but new life in terms of whatever you're here to create in your world, that all does come from this deep place of power and sacred connection that's in every human with a vulva's body. That's where life literally fucking comes from. None of us would be here if vulvas didn't exist. So it's kind of a big fucking deal. And to me, feels like definitely worthy of your attention. So I would say
2 minutes here and there. Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's like, so you can cup, you can breathe, and then, you really need to like come to the class to get the transmission of like, what is the G-spot and but let me say a couple things that are just tips that sometimes just create liberation just from the information. Cause like I said, a lot of our trauma, especially with orgasm and ejaculate, it's just misinformation. Like the G-spot was taken out of anatomy books like during the Victorian age, so it's like we don't even know what it is for good reasons. So a couple things you can do is, you can do just some conscious womb mapping, which means you would gently, and again, you ask your body, is it okay for me to enter right now? You get a feeling or you choose yes or no. And then you just press and hold and you breathe. So you could enter your vagina with one of your fingers and you hold and you breathe and you notice what sensations do you feel physically and emotionally.
You mean pause when you say hold? Do you mean pause?
Pause, hold, and you're pressing generally with firm presses, but like gentle and firm at the same time, right? And you can just go around, just go around your womb and breathe and just notice, right? And again, you need to really take on this kind of warrior energy of like, I'm not just going to believe everything I'm thinking and feeling right now. I'm noticing, I'm witnessing my own experience of being in a body, and I'm doing it with love. Because if you're not doing that, you're doing probably what other people have done, which is like not knowing how to honor and how to have reverence for this sacred. Sacred doesn't mean fragile. You know what I mean? There's nothing fragile about your pussy. Like I said, it's like gives birth, it bleeds every month. It's like, it's the most powerful thing, it's like the universe, so there's nothing fragile, but sacred means like, it's like, whoa, this is a powerful thing, So the mapping practice is just bringing conscious touch, like I said. So if you feel like you want to try it, definitely try it out and see what happens and see what you notice, and see what comes up for you. And I always think journaling or dancing, like you could even, as you're doing that, the last thing I would share is you can ask your pussy for a song, or you can ask spirit for a song. This is a practice we do a lot, but see what song comes into your mind, right? Or maybe just a few words come in your mind and you can Google them later, because that happens. Sometimes it's not like, whatever specific song, but sometimes it's like a few words and it winds up, if you Google it, it's like, oh, let me see what song that is. You follow that thread. And then you can process what you experience either through writing, where you would just journal, what did you notice? And try to keep it focused on the experience of the sensation physically and emotionally. But also if there's a story that came up around what's going on for you, then let that out too. You could write it all out and you could burn it. I love burning things. And or you can put on a song and let your body just move however it wants to move, even if it's just rolling around in your bed, or even if it's just sitting there and being like, I feel frozen, and just wiggling your toes and stretching your neck a little bit, right? Or maybe it's like ecstatically shaking your body, or maybe it's just, lying there and, just kind of moving very gently and stretching and breathing and letting yourself be held in your experience. Because whatever you experience makes sense if you're talking to the right people. Most of us just don't have people that fucking understand how the body works in our lives, which makes sense because none of us were taught this growing up. This is a new language. Trauma is a new language. It's all a new fucking language. But there's all these ancient practices that are also here saying like, you are the divine. God is within you, right? Goddess is the fabric of our existence and is the fabric of everything in existence. It's who we are. It's our true nature. Everything else is just like all the shit we think and feel, and it comes and goes and it's constantly changing. And the more that we can do these practices, we start to be able to see that we can witness our own experience, and then that gives us more choice within our own experience, and then we can create the changes that we are here to make, not because we're bad or we're wrong, or everybody experiences really positive things and everybody experiences really negative things in life. That's just the way it is. But what we do with those experiences is what really matters. And I've had the good fortune to be able to transform some really shitty experiences that I've had, and I'm forever and ever and ever grateful for that.